The big mistakes putting you in real danger at camp are ordinary decisions about fuel, fire, water, food, and failing to leave someone your route and out time. I'll show you how each one actually harms you and the practical correction that keeps it from becoming an emergency. Carbon monoxide can leave a sleeping camper with a headache, then drowsy, unconscious, and dead before they understand there is a problem. An ember can burn through a tent and spread into vegetation, while untreated water can bring weeks of diarrhea, dehydration, and trouble staying warm. Without a route and out time, rescuers may not know you are overdue or where to begin. The answer is technique, placement, treatment, storage, and planning, not another gadget that lets indoor habits continue outside. I've spent a lifetime sleeping on the ground, including cold nights when the easy solution was usually the one to distrust. We'll start with the silent danger: carbon monoxide. A stove, barbecue, heater, or lantern inside a tent, vestibule, camper, or van is dangerous even with a door cracked. Burning fuel produces carbon monoxide, an odorless, colorless, non-irritating gas that spreads through a confined shelter and enters your lungs. It binds to hemoglobin far more strongly than oxygen, gradually starving the brain and heart. Headache, fatigue, dizziness, nausea, and drowsiness can feel like tiredness or flu, especially when you are going to sleep. Then, you may lose consciousness. A cooling barbecue is no exception. Smoldering charcoal continues producing substantial carbon monoxide after the flame is gone, without smoke or smell. So do not burn fuel inside a tent, awning, vestibule, camper, van, or enclosed sleeping space. Cook outside and use a sleeping bag and pad for warmth. A heater marketed for tents still depends on its manual specified fuel, leak checks, ventilation, and awake time use. Government guidance remains more cautious about fuel-burning heaters in enclosed sleeping spaces. A CO alarm is useful in homes and RVs, but cold, moisture, installation limits, and alarm thresholds make it no license to burn fuel in a tent. If exposure is suspected, get everyone into fresh air and call emergency services. Do not stay inside troubleshooting. Multiple collapsed occupants are beyond a solo fix, and a rescuer can be exposed too. The next danger is brighter: campfire sparks, tipped fuel, and the small ember that becomes a wildfire. A campfire leaves the ring when wind carries sparks onto synthetic tent fabric or guy lines, and those materials can burn quickly. Dry leaves, needles, and twigs let fire creep across the ground. A stove on grass or an uneven surface can tip, spill fuel, and send flame into clothing, gear, or nearby grass. Buried coals keep their heat too. Wind changes, oxygen reaches them, and a quiet fire starts again. I only camp in an established car campground in summer. That lowers the cold stress risk if the nights stay warm, but it does not change what sparks, fuel, or a smoldering fire can do. Local fire bans and site rules come first. Before lighting anything, inspect the ground around the fire ring and stove for dry debris and grass, and check that the stove sits level on a cleared, stable surface. Keep the tent roughly 15 feet from the fire as a rule of thumb. It is not a guarantee in high wind, extreme dryness, or with a large fire. Before bed or departure, drown the fire, stir the coals and ash, and keep going until everything is cold to the touch. I would rather spend that extra time making cold ash than wonder whether the wind has found the coals. If fire is spreading or beyond your control, leave and call emergency services. And that leads to the water that looks clean enough to drink, then makes you ill after you are home. A clear stream is not a treatment method. When you swallow untreated water, bacteria, viruses, and parasites pass into the intestines. Giardia can attach to the intestinal lining and interfere with nutrient absorption. 1 to 2 weeks later, you may be dealing with foul-smelling, greasy diarrhea, gas cramps, fatigue, nausea, and dehydration, lasting 2 to 6 weeks or longer. That delay is part of the trap. All this talk seems overblown. I've drunk from streams before and been fine. That is luck, not proof. The risk changes with the place, season, and pathogen, and regional guidance may matter more than one symptom list. So, treat surface water. Boil it vigorously for 1 minute or 3 minutes above about 6,500 feet. A suitable filter can remove parasites and bacteria according to its pore size, but common camping filters do not remove viruses. Cloudy water can shield germs from chemicals or UV, so filter it first. Chemical treatment also needs the right dose and contact time, and boiling or standard filters cannot remove chemicals, toxins, or radioactive material. Near mining, industrial discharge, or agricultural runoff, carry water or use a known safe source. Serious dehydration or illness you cannot manage is a medical problem, not a camp repair. A mountain stream can look like it has just left the tap. Nobody upstream promised what is in it, and water is only one thing you bring into camp. Food and scented items can bring the danger to your tent. Mice and chipmunks chew through tent fabric to reach a snack, and once that fabric is open, your weather protection and insect barrier are open too. Bears learn the same lesson bigger. Food or toiletries near tents and tables, and a bear starts returning, loses fear of people, and may challenge someone for the next meal. Relocation often doesn't fix that, and managers may decide the bear has to be killed. So keep food, rubbish, toiletries, every scented item out of the tent. Follow the local rule. Where canisters are required, use a hard-sided one. Where a hang is allowed, it needs real height and clearance, not a rope over the nearest branch. Some parks call for storage about 100 yards downwind, hangs around 12 feet high, 5 feet from trunks, food roughly 100 feet from where you sleep. Soft bags aren't automatically rodent-proof. Ursacks have been torn open by wolverines, and above tree line there may be no tree at all. No bears where you camp? The canister rule may not apply. Rodents and raccoons still will. Food in a tent isn't stored, it's advertised. If an animal gets your food, create distance and call it in. Don't confront it. Once camp is secured and empty, the next protection is the route and out time somebody's holding for you. Telling somebody you're camping somewhere is not a rescue plan. If you are hurt, lost, or weathered in, search and rescue needs a place to start and a time to start worrying. Without your route, planned camps, return time, and trailhead, nobody may even know you're overdue. And while everybody is trying to work out where you went, you are spending another night out in cold, wet clothes with an injury or without enough water. Before you leave, send one trusted person your route, where you expect to sleep, when you expect to be back, and where the car is parked. Tell them plainly, if I have not checked in by this time, call 911 or park dispatch. Leave the same plan on paper in the car if it helps. A beacon or satellite messenger is useful backup, but batteries die, gear gets damaged, and deep trees or a canyon can block the sky. I value spontaneity is fair. Skipping the plan is not. Change the route if you need to. Send the change when you can. The plan does not put a wall between you and the country. It gives somebody a starting point if you do not come home. I want my sons to keep camping. Part of passing it on is knowing when freedom is supposed to end. And cold makes this more than a paperwork problem. A bad sleep system, dehydration from bad water, and dependence on a heater can turn one unplanned night into a much harder one. The heater is often bought first for a cold night, while the sleeping bag and pad become the backup. That order is backwards. A marginal bag loses heat around your body, and a poorly insulated pad lets the ground take heat through you. When fuel runs out, the heater fails, or you shut it off because of carbon monoxide, there is no passive reserve. Dehydration makes the cold harder. Giardia can cause diarrhea and fluid loss 1 or 2 weeks after bad water exposure, and reduced blood volume impairs temperature regulation. Your needed warmth also varies with metabolism, body composition, health, and whether you run cold, so a rating is not a promise. I have been cold plenty of times. Discovering a bad sleep system at 3 in the morning is a poor time to become an engineer. Use a bag with a comfort rating below the expected low and a high R value pad. Change out of wet clothes, eat a substantial dinner, and use light exercise before bed. A heater is an awake time tool used with its specified fuel, checked connections, required ventilation, and manual restrictions. Government guidance still advises against combustion heaters in enclosed sleeping spaces. Renting? Read the manual and check the bag and pad before leaving the counter. If someone is confused, cannot stay warm, severely dehydrated, or cannot get out, call emergency services or SAR. That is beyond a solo repair. Before dark, one simple check turns these separate mistakes into a margin you can use. Before leaving, run one check that does not depend on a gadget. Where will you cook and heat? What are the fire restrictions, and is the stove on clear, stable ground? What can your water method remove? Where will food and scented items go? Does the bag and pad work for the expected cold without fuel? Does one person have your route, out time, and instructions about when to call? I camp close to home for one night. Search and rescue and water illness are overkill. The odds may be lower, but weather, injury, and contaminated water do not require a long expedition. A short message and proper treatment add little trouble. An alarm does not replace outdoor combustion. Tablets do not replace matching treatment to the water. A soft bag does not replace local wildlife rules. A messenger does not replace telling a person. Once people are collapsed from CO, a fire is beyond control, a bear is challenging camp, or someone is seriously cold, ill, lost, or injured, stop improvising. Move away from the danger when you can and call emergency services, park dispatch, medical care, or SAR. The best camp is where ordinary decisions still work when the weather turns and everybody is tired. The next problem is the sleep system mistake that causes hypothermia when a marginal bag or pad is asked to do a cold weather job. Build the passive system before the fuel is gone and the heater is off. If your heater is not the thing that keeps you alive at night, what does? The next video looks at the sleep system mistake that causes hypothermia when a marginal bag or pad is asked to do a cold weather job, and shows how to build passive warmth that keeps working when the fuel is gone, the heater is off, and the ground is taking your heat. Check the bag and pad before dark.